A resounding show of American support for Taiwan in the face of escalating threats from China. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi landing in Taiwan Tuesday, a display of defiance, ignoring days of perilous warnings from China. Minutes after Pelosi's arrival, China announced a series of targeted military operations in response to the House Speaker's visit. State media publishing a map of the drills, which began during the overnight hours, some just miles from the Taiwanese coast. As Pelosi's convoy arrived at her Taipei hotel, a heavy police presence. Two groups of protesters gathered outside. Some welcomed Pelosi's support for Taiwan.
Speaker of House is Nancy Pelosi has been supporting Taiwan for decades, and it's very important for me as a Taiwanese to be here tonight to welcome her.
Others accuse her of escalating tensions.
Right now, Pelosi and the United States are treating Taiwan as a chess piece. Once she lands in Taiwan, mainland China will retaliate using their own methods.
China's foreign ministry spokesman calling Pelosi's stop in Taiwan a serious violation of the One China principle that will have a severe impact on the political foundation of China-U.S. relations. Taiwan says cyber attacks knocked some government websites offline. No immediate claims of responsibility. Beijing calls Taiwan a breakaway province of China. The mainland communist rulers have never controlled the island of almost 24 million people. They refuse to recognize Taiwan's democratically elected government. Taiwan says China sent more than 20 warplanes into the island's air defense zone Tuesday, part of what Taiwan calls an ongoing campaign of bullying by Beijing, using its massive military and economic power to isolate the island. In a Washington Post op-ed published shortly after her arrival in Taipei, Pelosi writes, "In the face of the Chinese Communist Party's accelerating aggression, our congressional delegation's visit should be seen as an unequivocal statement that America stands with Taiwan, our democratic partner, as it defends itself and its freedom." That sentiment echoed by other U.S. officials Tuesday.
For China to try to turn what is in the historical norm into a crisis, or to try to use it as a pretext for aggressive action around Taiwan, that's on them, and they would be the ones who'd be escalating.
And Will is in Taipei. Obviously, Will, where you are, you're ahead here. So it's 7 o'clock in the morning. The Speaker Pelosi is there and about to start her day. So what do we expect to see in Taipei? I mean, exactly how is this going to be choreographed? And in these next hours, what could China do?
Yeah, well, we know that these Chinese military drills are happening off the Taiwanese coast. They started, according to Chinese state media, overnight. In fact, not just state media, but the Defense Ministry, the People's Liberation Army announced that these are happening. And they even put out a map showing that some of them are coming literally within miles of the Chinese coast. So theoretically, if they're loud enough, people in Taiwan on the shoreline might be able to hear China conducting military exercises around the entire island. Clearly, it's an act of intimidation. But from Speaker Pelosi's perspective, we expect to see them go on through the day as planned. So we now have confirmed that at 10:30 local time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, she'll be meeting with Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen. Before that, we're expecting her to meet with members of Parliament and talk to them about their system here. You know, she's been a real champion for democracy here in Taiwan, which is very young, Aaron, just a couple of, several decades, basically. And the people who are now running the country, a lot of them actually were meeting illegally in basements and even served time in jail, and now they're running the country. That is how fresh and young Taiwan's democracy is, and Pelosi made it clear with her statement that she absolutely wants to protect that. China, of course, they've never recognized the government here, and they say that eventually they're going to take this place back. These military exercises clearly an attempt to intimidate and to send a message that when China is ready, Taiwan will become a part of the mainland no matter what.
Well, Ripley, thank you very much from Taipei. And you heard Will laying out here just over the next, it's 7:07 here. So the speaker will be coming out of her hotel, meeting with members of parliament in Taiwan. And then by 10:30 tonight Eastern time, 10:30 a.m. in Taipei, meeting with the president of Taiwan. These are going to be a very tense and important few hours. So for more, I want to talk to retired Vice Admiral Robert Moret, former Director of Naval Intelligence, who spent years stationed in the Asia-Pacific region, along with Abby Phillip, here with me, anchor of Inside Politics Sunday. So, Admiral, what Will was just laying out, 21 warplanes from China into Taiwan's air defense zone. You heard Will saying if you stand on the coast, you might even be able to hear these military exercises, some of them with live fire around Taiwan. The ambassador from the U.S. has been summoned to China by the Chinese counterpart. There's been cyber attacks. So here we are in these next few hours. Will this escalate further as Pelosi goes through these crucial meetings?
Yeah, Erin, great question. And first, thanks for the opportunity to be able to join you and the others this evening. I would hope not. I would hope this would be a measured response by China, which we expected based on Speaker Pelosi's visit, but that cool heads would prevail on their side, and that there would be some exercise activity that will probably take place for the next few days or so, and perhaps the cyber intrusions that you mentioned already, but that it would be limited in scope and a measured response to what is happening there, largely for domestic consumption, because I don't think we want to underestimate the extent to which so much of this is for the Chinese public, and especially the senior government officials, because of the party Congress that President Xi has coming up this fall.
Right, and of course the images of the fighter jets and the live fire, I mean, that is what they're playing again and again on state television. Abby, before Pelosi went, President Biden publicly said the U.S. military did not think her visit was a good idea. He said the U.S. military didn't think that, didn't talk about his own point of view. But the administration, you've been reporting behind the scenes, tried to convince her not to go. And yet, what we understand is U.S. officials think that the Chinese officials don't necessarily see the distinction between Pelosi and Biden, that they view this as an official state visit. Why didn't Biden tell her not to go?
I mean, from the Chinese perspective, Pelosi and Biden are in the same political party, that they are allied politically. But on top of that, she is in the presidential line of succession, which is why, by the way, her visit to Taiwan requires a robust military reinforcement on the ground. But from Biden's perspective, there are two factors, domestic and international. On the domestic front, Republicans have been attacking Biden as being soft on China. And Biden himself personally wants to be tough on China, is tough on China. He believes the United States needs to be oriented more with China as a strategic adversary. So his own personal view of this is to push back on China, but that is in conflict with what is going on the international stage, in which the Biden administration believes it's imperative to take down the rhetoric and take down the antagonism between the two parties, but he cannot be seen as just letting the Chinese Communist Party determine what the Speaker of the House does on an international visit. That's how the Biden administration.
And she made it clear by making it public that she was going to go, right? That she kind of took any cards out of his hand.
And it would have been leaked. Private conversations would have been leaked, and it would have been made public.
Right. And then possibly looking weak. So, Admiral, China's Ministry of Defense says that Pelosi, and their quote is, knowingly and maliciously provoked and created a crisis between the U.S. and China. I just wanted to zone in on this because words matter so much when it comes to these things. That use of the word crisis. Is this now a crisis, Admiral?
Aaron, I'd like to think it's not. And importantly, as you say, they came from the Minister of Defense, not the foreign minister or President Xi. Those are the kind of things you would expect to have come from a defense minister, which are different in character from what you might hear from somebody else in government. Yeah. And as I said, I'm hopeful that this won't be viewed as a crisis, but that we'll, settle down here in short order, hopefully within the next couple of days. As importantly, Speaker Pelosi and her delegation go on to other countries that are good friends of ours in East Asia.
Right, and of course, I would imagine they're going to do these meetings and then leave. Abby, the White House concerns, and it's interesting, and and some of the Democratic criticism of this trip has come in stark contrast to the Republicans. 22 Senate Republicans issued a statement saying they're fully behind Pelosi's visit, fully committed to Taiwan. Here is one of them.
I'm about to use 4 words in a row that I haven't used in this way before, and those 4 words are, Speaker Pelosi was right.
All right, no doubt many of them completely believe what they're saying. They do. They're glad she's going. This is true. But they're also, putting out a letter and all of that. There's clearly a political gamesmanship going on here.
It helps from their perspective that Pelosi is apparently, sort of pushing back on Biden. That helps.
Right, the thumbing her nose at Biden.
Thumbing her nose at Biden is something that Republicans are very supportive of. But let's be honest here. The Republican position of they are tough on China, Democrats are not, is a largely political construction. The Trump administration, Trump personally, was very friendly toward Xi Jinping as president. His administration maybe had tougher rhetoric, but Trump himself, he loved when Xi Jinping rolled out the red carpet for him on his visit to China during his administration. So a lot of this is just political posturing ahead of a midterm election. Republicans want to draw a contrast between themselves and Democrats. But as you can see here, Pelosi has a long history of supporting Taiwan. So this is not new, and it's also not about pushing back on President Biden.
Right, yeah, and certainly something she has had a long track record on. Admiral Abbey, thank you both very much. And